A strange thing happens when you start becoming more self-aware. You don't immediately feel powerful. You don't immediately feel successful. You don't immediately feel understood. And honestly, you don't even immediately feel free. A lot of the time, you just feel alone. Not always physically alone, but emotionally, psychologically, existentially, like you can still be around people, still talk, still function, still smile, and yet something in you has already left the old world. And the people around you can feel it too. You stop laughing at the same things, stop chasing the same attention, stop pretending certain dynamics feel good when they don't. Stop being able to fully enjoy things that once distracted you. And while everybody else seems to move on easily, you start noticing too much falseness, too much self-betrayal, too much unconscious behavior, too much noise covering up emptiness. That's what we're talking about in this video. Why self-aware people often feel alone before they win. And I want to ask you something early, because I know this question is going to hit a real nerve for a lot of people. Have you ever felt like the more self-aware you became, the less connected you felt to the people around you? And what changed first? Your conversations, your friendships, your goals, or the way you saw yourself? That question usually brings up a whole season of life, because this experience is real, and it's easy to misunderstand. A lot of people think loneliness means something is going wrong, but sometimes loneliness is what happens when your inner world is changing faster than your outer world can catch up. That's the twist. And this is where the Carl Jung angle matters. Jung believed that becoming conscious comes with a cost, because the moment you start seeing yourself more clearly, you also start seeing other people more clearly. You see your own patterns, your own wounds, your own self-deceptions, your own shadow. But you also start seeing the unconscious games around you. And once you see them, you can't completely go back. That's why self-awareness can feel isolating before it becomes empowering. Before the win shows up on the outside, before the confidence stabilizes, before the new life becomes visible. There is often a long stretch where you simply feel out of place, not because you're broken, but because you're no longer fully asleep. So let's go straight into it. Here are 7 reasons self-aware people often feel alone before they win. 1. They can no longer fully belong to the version of life they've outgrown. This is usually where the loneliness begins. Self-aware people start feeling alone because they can't comfortably return to what they used to be. That's the first loss. You outgrow the old conversations, the old habits, the old emotional loops, the old need for constant approval, the old way of pretending things are fine when they're clearly not. And once that happens, normal life starts feeling strangely distant. You can still be in the room, but you're no longer in the illusion. That's hard, because a lot of connection in life is built around shared unconsciousness, shared distraction, shared denial, shared coping, shared roles, shared performance. When you become more aware, you start breaking those bonds internally before you break them externally. And that creates a strange in-between state. You're no longer fully at home in the old life, but the new one hasn't arrived yet. Jung would probably say this is part of individuation. The process of becoming your real self usually begins with a painful separation from the false self, and that separation is lonely, because the false self is often socially rewarded. It knows how to fit, how to belong, how to keep the peace, how to stay digestible. But the real self? At first, it often feels socially expensive, because now you can't enjoy certain things the same way, can't fake agreement the same way, can't betray yourself as casually as before. So yes, self-aware people often feel alone before they win, because they have already lost access to the life they were unconsciously living. And that loss happens before the reward shows up. That's why it can feel like you're in a desert for a while. Not because nothing is happening, because something deep is ending before something deeper is born. 2. They start seeing through people, and that makes connection harder. This is one of the heaviest parts. When you become more self-aware, you don't just understand yourself better. You also start reading people differently. You notice contradictions faster. You hear what people don't say. You feel the energy behind the politeness. You recognize when someone is performing, projecting, manipulating, or avoiding themselves. And while that sounds powerful, it can also get very lonely. Because now shallow connection becomes harder to sustain. You can still be polite, still be kind, still care. But the illusion of deep connection gets harder to maintain when you can clearly feel that much of what's happening is surface level. Jung understood that the shadow is always active in human relationships. People say one thing and mean another. They smile while competing, support while resenting, love while controlling, help while needing power. And once you start seeing more of that, it changes you. Not in a cynical way necessarily, but in a sobering way. You stop feeling nourished by the same interactions. Stop confusing familiarity with sincerity. Stop calling every connection real just because it exists. And yes, that can make life quieter. Because suddenly, there are fewer places where you can fully relax. Fewer people you feel clean around. Fewer conversations that feel honest enough to rest in. That's why self-aware people often feel isolated before they win. Not because they became too good for people, because they became too awake for certain illusions. And once your nervous system starts recognizing what feels false, it gets harder to force yourself to feel at home in it. That changes everything. 3. Self-awareness removes easy excuses, and that creates a painful period of inner honesty. This one goes inward. A lot of people think self-awareness feels empowering right away. Sometimes it does. But a lot of the time, it first feels uncomfortable. Why? Because once you become more aware, you lose some of the old excuses. You can't keep blaming everybody else the same way. You can't keep romanticizing your own patterns. You can't keep pretending certain choices are harmless when you know they're self-sabotaging. You can't keep lying to yourself as easily. That's hard. Because now the distance between who you are and who you could be becomes clearer. And clarity hurts before it heals. Jung would probably say that consciousness is not comfortable in the beginning. It confronts, it strips away, it ruins your favorite illusions. You start seeing your avoidance, your fear, your need for approval, your attachment to suffering, your tendency to repeat what wounds you, your hidden motives, your old identity trying to survive. And that kind of honesty can feel incredibly lonely, because now you are carrying truths most people around you may not even be ready to discuss. You're fighting inner battles they cannot see. You're grieving old selves they don't even know existed. You're trying to become someone different while still living inside the same body, same environment, same social world. That's a lot. And before the outer win happens, there is usually a phase where all you really have is awareness. Awareness without completion. Awareness without full relief. Awareness without visible results. That can feel brutal, because you know too much to go backward, and not enough has changed yet to make forward feel secure. That's why self-aware people often feel alone. They are carrying the weight of conscious change before the reward arrives. 4. Their standards rise before their environment does. This is a huge reason. When self-awareness grows, standards change. You want different conversations, different love, different friendships, different habits, different goals, different emotional environments. And the problem is, your outer life doesn't update automatically just because your inner standards did. So now you're stuck in this weird tension. You've outgrown certain dynamics, but you may still be surrounded by them. You've raised your standards, But you may not yet be living in spaces where those standards are normal. You want more honesty, but you're still around people committed to performance. That mismatch creates loneliness, because your soul is asking for one kind of life, while your current environment still speaks another language. Jung might say that transformation always creates tension between the old world and the emerging self, and that tension is exhausting, because now you notice everything more sharply. What drains you, what cheapens you, what keeps pulling you backward, what no longer fits. And while other people may still feel fine in those spaces, you feel the friction constantly. That's why self-aware people can feel lonely even in familiar environments. The room didn't change, they did. And that change usually shows up first as discomfort, long before it shows up as external success. So if you've been feeling less at home in places that used to feel normal, it doesn't always mean you're becoming difficult. Sometimes it means your standards have risen beyond what your current environment can hold. And yes, that often happens before you win, because first the inner standard rises, then the outer life slowly starts catching up. 5. They stop performing for belonging, and that changes how others respond to them. This one hits hard because it changes relationships quickly. A lot of belonging in life is built on performance, being agreeable, being easy, being entertaining, being useful, being less honest than you really are, being more available than you really want to be. Self-aware people start dropping some of that performance. Maybe not all at once, maybe not dramatically, but slowly they start becoming more real. They talk less just to fill silence. They stop over-explaining. They stop bending themselves into old shapes just to keep certain people comfortable. They stop pretending they're okay with things they've outgrown. And the truth is, not everybody likes that. Because not everybody loved your essence. Some people loved your adaptation. Jung would probably say that individuation often threatens collective belonging. The more you become yourself, the less you can rely on old performance-based acceptance. That's lonely. Because now some people feel you changing before they understand it. They may call you distant, too serious, too different, too much, too quiet. But often what's really happening is simple. You're no longer performing the version of yourself that made them feel most comfortable. And while that is a healthy shift, it often creates a period where you feel less understood, less mirrored, and less socially rewarded. That period can feel like failure if you don't know what it is, but it isn't failure. It's the cost of becoming more real before the right people, right environments, and right opportunities have fully arrived. That's why self-aware people often feel alone before they win. They stop performing for false belonging before true belonging finds them. 6. They can sense the life they are meant for before they can fully live it. This is one of the deepest and strangest parts of growth. Self-aware people often feel alone because they can already sense a life that doesn't fully exist around them yet. They feel the mismatch, the future self, the deeper calling, the standards they're moving toward, the inner truth that won't let them settle. They don't always have language for it. They may not even have the external proof yet, but they can feel that where they are is no longer where they belong permanently. And that feeling is both powerful and painful. Because now you can sense more than you can currently hold. You can feel the life you want before you've built it. Feel the peace you're moving toward before you've stabilized in it. Feel the person you're becoming before the world fully meets them. Jung might say that the deeper self often calls a person forward long before the ego feels ready. That call is sacred, but it can also be lonely, because the people around you may not understand what you're reaching for. They may only see your dissatisfaction, your withdrawal, your restlessness, your change in energy. They may not understand that something in you is being pulled toward a truer life. And because they don't understand it, you may feel alone carrying it. This is why some people feel isolated long before anything impressive happens externally. The inner call came first. The visible win comes later. But during that gap, you often have to live with a quiet sense that your life is changing in ways nobody else can fully validate yet. That's a lonely kind of faith, but it is often part of the process. 7. Winning for self-aware people is different, and it usually takes longer to become visible. This is the final reason, and maybe the most important. Self-aware people often feel alone before they win because the kind of win they're moving toward is deeper than appearance. They are not just trying to look successful, they are trying to become whole. That takes longer. It takes longer to build peace than image, longer to build integrity than status, longer to build real confidence than social performance, longer to heal the nervous system than to fake being fine, longer to become internally aligned than to look externally impressive. And because it takes longer, there is often a stretch where it feels like everyone else is moving faster. Other people are getting visible rewards, visible attention, visible validation. Meanwhile, you are doing the slower work. The inner work, the honest work, the painful work, the work that doesn't always photograph well, the work that doesn't always make immediate sense to others. Jung would probably say that the path to wholeness is not the same as the path to quick social success. And that's exactly why self-aware people can feel so alone. Because from the outside, it may look like they're behind, but from the inside, something much more important may be happening. They are becoming less divided, less false, less unconscious, less driven by image, less available for old patterns. That is a win too. Actually, it's a deeper one. But because it is less visible at first, it doesn't always receive applause in real time. That's why self-aware people often feel alone before they win. Because they are building something real, and real things usually take longer to become undeniable. What does this mean for you? Now this part matters, because if you are in that season right now, more self-aware, more honest, more awake, but also lonelier than before, I don't want you to assume that means you are failing. Sometimes loneliness is not the sign that you are lost. Sometimes it is the sign that you are separating from the old self, old patterns, old rooms, old roles, old forms of belonging that required you to betray too much of yourself. Jung would not want you to glamorize suffering for no reason, but he would absolutely understand that consciousness often isolates before it integrates. That's the pattern. First you see more, then you lose comfort, then you feel alone, then slowly, your outer life begins reorganizing around the truth you can no longer ignore. That's why this stage matters so much. Because a lot of people give up here. They go back to old distractions, old approval systems, old versions of themselves, old relationships built on mutual unconsciousness. Why? Because loneliness is heavy. But if you stay with it long enough, something changes. The life that matches your awareness starts finding you. The relationships that can hold your honesty start becoming clearer. The work that reflects your deeper self becomes more real. The win starts becoming visible. But first, there is often this quieter season. And that season deserves to be understood, not just endured blindly. So why do self-aware people often feel alone before they win? Because they can no longer belong to the version of life they've outgrown. Because they start seeing through people and surface-level connection. Because self-awareness removes easy excuses and forces painful honesty. Because their standards rise before their environment does. Because they stop performing for belonging before real belonging arrives. Because they can sense a life they're meant for before they can fully live it. And because the kind of win they're building is deeper, slower, and less visible at first. That's the deeper truth. A lot of self-aware people are not lonely because they are broken. They are lonely because they are between worlds, too awake for the old one, not fully established in the new one yet. And if that's where you are right now, don't rush to call it failure. Sometimes this is just what it feels like when your soul is no longer willing to live on the surface. And before I leave you, I want to bring that question back one more time, because I think it's going to open up a real comment section. When self-awareness started changing your life, what made you feel alone first? Your friendships, your mindset, your goals, or the feeling that nobody around you really understood what was happening inside you? That answer says a lot, and honestly, it might help a lot of people feel less alone too. If this spoke to you, comment, "I'm between worlds,"